Good evening. Tonight from the Augsburg College, it's the Region 6AA semifinals. The St. Louis Park Orioles coming in at 16-5 against the number 2 ranked team in the state, the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, coming in at 21-0. I'm Shane Steiner, and along with Washburn coach Lewis Boone, we're bringing you all the action this evening on BEC. Now let's pick up the PA announcer with the starting lineups. First, for the St. Louis Park Orioles, we have Rodney Boone, number 35, a 6'5", 5'10" senior in the guard. Another forward, number 33, Robert Davinsky, 6'1" senior. Matt Harrington, number 23, a 6'2" senior. At the other guard, number 43, Jason Thalberg, a 6'2" senior. And in the pivot, number 53, David Peterson, a 6'7.5" sophomore. And now the Jaguars of Bloomington Jefferson, a packed house here at Augsburg College this evening. Jaguars have won their last 8 postseason games dating back to last season. Tom Batta, 6'5" senior, averaging 14 points per game for the Jaguars. 5'11" senior Chad Juergens, number 20, averaging 5 a game. 6'5" senior Kevin Lynch, averaging 16 points a game. Number 51, Dan Nehruth, 6'2" senior Dan Nehruth. He'll be in the pivot this evening against David Peterson. And rounding out the starting lineups is Mike Shear, a 6'4" senior forward. Well, Coach Boone, it's speed against strength this evening. We've got St. Louis Park with the height in Cartwright and David Peterson, and we've got the full court pressure of the Jefferson Jaguars.
Well, that's a good point, Shane. I think Jefferson has a little bit of speed as well as strength, and you have to look at their overall size inside as being a factor tonight.
These teams got here. Jefferson, a 66-32 victory over the Minnetonka Skippers at Jefferson Gymnasium. And the St. Louis Park Orioles overcame a 31-18 third-quarter deficit to defeat the Kennedy Eagles 37-34. We're about ready to get underway here. The first 8 minutes of action. Dave Peterson for the Orioles will be jumping center against Kevin Lynch for the Jaguars. David Peterson, of course, is the brother of Jim Peterson, former Gopher, and now Houston Rocket NBA star. Well, it's a loud, noisy crowd this evening. The bands are playing behind us. We're ready with the first 8 minutes. Lynch controls the tap for Juergens in the near court. Juergens bringing it up for the Jaguars. Looks like man-to-man by the Osseo Orioles. Turnaround by Nehruth. Looks like we're going to get a foul right away on Rodney Boone.
Well, if you notice, it's a man-to-man. Boone from the weak side doubled down low. So it could be disguised as a man-to-man, but it looks like it might be some sort of sagging zone.
That'll put Nehruth at the line, shooting 2. Dan's averaging 12 points per game on the season. Nehruth nets the first one. Jaguars are on the board.
Looks like St. Louis Park has forced Jefferson to beat them from the perimeter, because they went down hard on that ball thrown into the post.
Peterson comes down with the rebound on the errant free throw. Gets it off for Boone for Davinsky into the front court. Far side now for Thalberg. Back to Boone for Davinsky.
Jefferson's in their patented 2-3 zone, and they move so well in that thing.
Boone for Peterson from the free throw line. That's 2 for David Peterson. It's 2-1, St. Louis Park Orioles. Juergens bringing it up against Boone.
It's man-to-man, Shane. A lot of pressure on the ball.
Batta far side. Over Thalberg, throws up a wild shot. Thalberg can't control the rebound. Shearer runs that down into traffic, throws it away to Davinsky.
St. Louis Park can continue the intensity on the ball as they have the first couple of trips up the floor. They're going to be tough for Jefferson tonight.
And if they can get Peterson on track, the only man in double figures in the Kennedy quarterfinal game was Jason Thalberg with 10 points.
He's an excellent perimeter shooter.
Davinsky far side being bodied by Juergens. Back out for Boone. Boone in the lane, hanging over Shear, won't go. Parrington and Lynch battle for it. Thalberg runs that down near corner. Thalberg back out for Boone, 6:35 to go. St. Louis Park leads 2-1. Boone, far side for Davinsky, look low to Peterson. Off for Thalberg. Thalberg tried on the bigger Lynch. And the errant pass by Parrington is picked off by Dan Nehru.
They're going to have to cut through against that 2-3 zone. It looks like a basic position offense against their zone.
Juergens for Lynch for two. It's 3-2 Jaguars. That's Lynch's first bucket of the game. Here they come with the full court pressure. Looks like a little man-to-man full court trap.
Looks like we're doubling in the corner.
Thalberg. They break the trap with Parrington near side. Parrington for Shear, bounce pass for Davinsky. He was pushed there by Chad Juergens.
You know, Shane, Jefferson has a couple approaches to their full court pressure philosophy. Now, as you notice, there wasn't a lot of pressure on the ball. Now, the latter part of the game, or latter part of this quarter even, they'll turn it up a couple notches and put a little more heat on the ball.
Varying their pressure, in other words.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going to get another foul here on the Jaguars. Dan Nehru reaching in on Matt Parrington. Thalberg inbounding right baseline for Peterson. Far side. That's tapped out of bounds by Chad Juergens.
You know, people tend to forget that Dave Peterson is a sophomore. We saw him last year as a ninth grader, and he was strictly an inside player. And it looks like he's made a major change in his game already. He's playing more on the perimeter.
Thalberg and Boone play with the ball on the perimeter for Thalberg. Tried to get it in for Peterson. That's intercepted by Bata. Bata against Boone. Pulls up. 8-footer. Won't go. Davinsky battles for it. Nehru finally comes away with it. We'll get a foul here. Could be on Rodney Boone.
You know, there's been a lot of questions asked as to what makes Jefferson's zone so effective. I think they've got 4 to 5 of the best anticipators in high school basketball this year.
Nehru will be at the line shooting two again. He's 1 for 2 from the line so far this evening. And he nets that one. 2 points for Nehru. It's 4-2 Jaguars. A lot of aggressive play here in the early going. You can tell it's a semifinal matchup. Lynch battles for the rebound. Boone comes down with the errant free throw attempt for St. Louis Park. Parrington near side for Boone, for Davinsky. Thalberg in the left corner. Nehru jumps out on him in a hurry.
They can't let Thalberg get that jumper off. He's very effective on the outside.
Davinsky over Shear for two. Robert Davinsky, that's 2 points for him. We're tied at 4 apiece. 5 minutes to go, first quarter action from the campus of Augsburg College. Juergens trying to lose Boone. For Lynch, far side. For Nehru, we're going to get a foul here on Davinsky before the shot.
Very tough-looking man-to-man offense for Jefferson to counteract that pressure that St. Louis Park is putting on him.
That's the third team foul on the Orioles. Battle inbound far side. What do you do to stop that perimeter shooting of the Jaguars? There's Bata from about 17. That rolls out. Oh, Parrington can't come down with it, but Davinsky clears up.
Well, you can't try to block it, but you can get a hand up to try to distract their shot.
Peterson is hacked on the arm by Mike Shear.
I think the officials are making a statement here. First couple trips, as you commented, there was a lot of aggressive play, and they've called a couple touch fouls the last couple trips down the floor.
Thalberg inbounding in front of the Jefferson bench to Boone, back to Thalberg for Boone. For Parrington, Parrington with the left hand, won't go, but Parrington gets his own rebound off the glass, won't go, and it's off of Lynch, and Lynch was lying on the end line. It'll be Oriole possession.
There was concern early in the year as far as Jefferson keeping people off the boards. They're going to be tested tonight. St. Louis Park's looked very aggressive going to that offensive board.
I know Minnetonka sent 4 men to the offensive glass, and they got burned on the fast break, but exactly. Davinsky with the putback. That's 4 points for Davinsky. It's 6-4, St. Louis Park. Do you feel that Jefferson's used to getting that early lead, and with St. Louis Park coming out tough here, if they can hang close, we might have a good ball game. Nehru with the turnaround. Here comes the full court pressure. Boone for Thalberg. Looks like 2-2-1.
It is. We call that a UCLA, made famous by John Wooden out at UCLA in his heyday.
Harrington's shot is short. He's triple teamed there. Kicks it back out for Thalberg for Peterson for 2. It's 8-6. St. Louis Park. That's 4 for Peterson. Juergens bringing it up far side. Juergens loses Boone in the lane. Dishes for Shear. Shear for 2.
You've got to play him on the point. You can't steal that ball every time down.
Boone for Parrington. They got a 2-on-1 with Peterson. Oh, didn't see Peterson in time. Davinsky dishes for Parrington. He's fouled there by Dan Nayrud. That's 2 on Nayrud.
St. Louis Park showed a lot of patience on that fast break. As you notice, Dave Peterson had a lane to the basket, and he did not force the ball in. He went back to the free throw line and then swung it around to the trailer coming down the left side. And they got a good shot off of it.
And Parrington converts the first one. It's 9-8 St. Louis Park. They look much better than they did against Kennedy Saturday afternoon. And Parrington nets them both. It's 10-8 St. Louis Park.
You have to, excuse me, Shane, you have to respect Jefferson. Everybody that plays him turns it up a couple notches and makes it tough on him.
Juergens has a little trouble with the dribble. Controls in the lane for Bada. Bada for 2. Broken circle. Well, we're tied at 10.
We call this staying power. St. Louis Park is going to have to stay with him. It's going to be trade punch for punch. And
Harrington.
I'll guarantee you Jefferson is battle ready.
Davinsky left baseline, won't go. Thalberg volleyballs it with the offensive rebound. Peterson can't get the tap, and Kevin Lynch skies for the rebound, leaves it for Juergens. 2:45 to go. First quarter action. We're tied at 10 apiece. 6AA semifinal action. There's the reach around foul on Rodney Boone. That could hurt. That's number 3 on Boone, the quarterback of the team.
That's what I alluded to early, Shane. They cannot gamble on the point. You got to play them honest and play them dribble defend up the floor and just forget about the steal. You're not going to get very many of them. And as you see, Boone has 3 fouls now, if that's correct.
Juergens far side, right baseline, Bada. He rolls that one in. That's 4 for Bada. It's 12-10. Jaguars back from their full court pressure.
If Boone, they can ill afford to lose him. If in fact he has the 3, is that correct?
Thalberg, he gets the bounce. We're tied at 12. Jason Thalberg. Juergens bringing it up for the Jaguars. Juergens watched by Boone for Lynch. Harrington jumps out on him. For Nayrud. Nayrud over Davinsky. Won't go. Parrington skies for the rebound.
I was impressed with the way Parrington went to that defensive board.
Harrington for Davinsky. Right corner, Thalberg tried to drive baseline. That was sealed by Shear. The look into Peterson. We're going to get a reach-in foul on Chad Juergens. That'll put St. Louis Park in the 1-1.
Okay, the 1-1.
Dave Peterson will be at the line shooting 1-1 for the St. Louis Park Orioles. 6'7.5", only a sophomore, average 0.5 points per game.
Dave Peterson has excellent touch for a big man around that basket.
Won't go. Parrington with the offensive rebound. That's stripped away by Juergens. Juergens decides to slow it up. He didn't have the numbers. Minute 35 to go. We're tied at 12. Juergens bounce pass for Shear. Over Peterson. Wild shot. Won't go. Davinsky comes down with the rebound. Long court, and Boone couldn't save the outlet pass. It'll be Jefferson possession.
Well, they got out of their plan a little bit there with the errant pass. You have to be more patient than that.
Earlier in the game, you said that St. Louis Park was doubling down. For some of our viewers who wouldn't understand that, does that mean they were double teaming a man or the ball, or what?
Exactly. When the pass goes from the either forward or guard to the low post area, the area we call the block, the guard either ball side or away from the ball will come off his man and double the player receiving the pass on the block with the ball.
Juergens threw that away, left side for Davinsky for Boone. For Thalberg, they're moving that ball around quickly, looking for Peterson down low. Davinsky for Parrington. Parrington back for Davinsky. I don't know if they'll go for the last shot. A lot of time left on the clock. Thalberg over Lynch. That one's short. Nayrud comes down with the rebound. Leaves it for Bada. Do you feel that Jefferson will go for the last shot here?
I think they will.
We're tied at 12, 38 seconds to go in a good first quarter Region 6 AA semifinal matchup. Looking for Nehruth. Nehruth, and that's 2 for Dan Nehruth.
Wrong on that one. They came down with patience and got into their offense. And,
6 points in the quarter for Nehruth.
They got a good shot off of it.
Boone and Thalberg play catch out high for Davinsky. For Parrington.
I noticed St. Louis Park is now sending cutters through their Jefferson's defense.
Jefferson is good at neutralizing the big men. They've neutralized Phil Mann, Bob Martin, and Rob Phoenix, just to name a few. Davinsky at the buzzer. It was good if it goes. That's the end of the first quarter of play with the score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 14, the St. Louis Park Orioles 12. Well, Coach Boone, that was pretty fast pace for 6AA style in the first quarter.
Well, that's pretty fast pace for any ball game. You've got 2 excellent teams out there, and thus far they're feeling each other out, looking for weaknesses that they want to exploit in the latter part of the game. I think St. Louis Park is doing an excellent job. You mentioned earlier about being able to neutralize the big man. With that 2-3 zone, they're really tough inside, and if they're going to concede anything, it'll be the perimeter shot. And not too many teams will beat you consistently from the outside. At this stage of the game, you can't change anything. You've got to go with what got you there. And Jefferson's 2-3 zone defensively has been tough on many teams.
Well, the shooting percentages are pretty close. St. Louis Park for the quarter was 5 for 11 from the field, and the Jaguars were 6 for 11 from the field. And also we have rebounds. St. Louis Park with a total of 10 and only 4 for the Jaguars. Turnovers 4 for St. Louis Park, only 2 for Jefferson. High point man in the game is Jefferson's Dan Nehruth with 6. Davinsky will start the ball off for St. Louis Park in the second quarter, inbounding in front of our broadcast location. He leaves it for Boone. Boone for Davinsky. Davinsky for Boone for Thalberg. Okay, we got Davinsky for Boone. Boone, right side. Peterson loses it. There's a scramble on the floor. Shear with it. Shear up on the far side for Bata. Bata just outside the center circle for Juergens. Juergens being watched by Boone. Right side now, Lynch. Lynch for Bata. Right side of the key. Top of the key now, Juergens. Juergens in the lane, broken circle. Lynch won't go. Thalberg battles for the rebound. He comes down with it for the Orioles. Davinsky will be bringing it up near side. Davinsky just outside the hash mark for Boone. Right side of the key for Thalberg for Boone. Left side now for Davinsky, and he hits. That's 6 points for Davinsky. We're tied at 14. We had momentarily lost our video. We've got it back now. Juergens, hawked by Boone for Bata. What we've noticed this year, Osseo and Park Center used a man-to-man as Nehruth takes the baseline jumper. He's fouled. Count the basket.
You mentioned Osseo and Park Center played Jefferson man-to-man.
Yes, sir.
I think that's respect out of Jefferson's outside shooting. You want to make them move and make them get a pattern, run a pattern, and make them take you inside and out rather than just conceding the outside shot, because they are an excellent outside shooting team.
That's 8 points for Nehruth. He makes it 9 on that one. 3-point play for the Jaguars. Phil Cartwright, the 6'8" junior, coming into the game for St. Louis Park. This is his first year he's played organized basketball.
Well, you notice Cartwright came in for Boone, so they gained about 8 inches.
Probably because of the 3 fouls.
Exactly, but they're going to give up something on their ball handling. So look for Jefferson to extend the pressure and turn it up a notch.
Thalberg throws up a wild shot. Jaguars come down with it. Juergens, left side for Lynch, over Parrington, and he hits. That's 4 points for Kevin Lynch. And Augie Schmidt wants a timeout. There's a timeout on the floor with the score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 15, the St. Louis Park Orioles, rather the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 19, the St. Louis Park Orioles 14. The last time the Jaguars lost a game was to this very same St. Louis Park team, 46-44. As we've seen one of the fans, Mark Riley, a guard for the North Polars, is in attendance this evening.
Yes, I don't know if that's a telling factor.
Well,
he's got a long road ahead of him.
Yes, they'll have trouble getting out of 5AA. Osseo and Park Center are also good ball clubs, and Southwest gave them trouble this year. Only lost to them by 7 points, 68-61.
Well, only lost to them by 7. North, you still have to take it from them. Those guys have been there, and they're defending champions out of that region, and they're going to be tough.
Well, they have the height this year. That might help them out.
Well, not only that, they've got good strength inside. They can anybody.
Okay, it'll be St. Louis Park basketball when we resume action. Jaguars got a 5-0 run to start that second quarter.
It's going to be interesting. I mentioned staying power earlier in the game. I think we're at a critical point as far as St. Louis Park is concerned. They cannot expect to get down 31-18 to a Jefferson team and come back and win.
Harrington for Thalberg, for Peterson in the lane. Harrington with the left hand. Oh, can't get it to go. Lynch puts the clamps on that one. They could make this a 7-0 second quarter run if they convert here. Juergens being watched by Davinsky. Is the offense a little out of kilter now that their quarterback of the team, Rodney Boone, is out of the game as Kevin Lynch was forced out of bounds on that one?
Well, I think the half-court offense won't tell you that much. Look for Jefferson to play some full-court pressure. I'd look for them to try to put some heat on the guards because their quarterback is out.
Davinsky for Thalberg, back to Davinsky. Left side now for Parrington. Cross court for Thalberg over Lynch. That's 2 for Jason Thalberg, 4 in the game. It's 19-16.
Lynch was a little slow getting there, and you got to get a hand in Thalberg's face or he'll hurt you.
Juergens for Bada. Bada, right baseline, turn around on Nehru. That's 10 points, count the basket. We'll get the foul on David Peterson. Excuse me, that's 11 points for Dan Nehru.
They are just, it's so much balance on that Jefferson team. You concentrate on stopping or containing one player and the next one beats you.
That is true. One night it's Bada, the next night it's Lynch, and tonight so far it's been Dan Nehru.
That's right. I was going to say, don't leave Nehru out. I've seen him a couple times this year, and he's so consistent. Now here goes the full court pressure. Now without their quarterback, let's see how they handle it.
Davinsky and Thalberg at UCL's zone that Coach Boone alluded to earlier. Davinsky for Parrington. You got to attack it to Cartwright. That was swatted away by Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
Nehru comes down with the rebound.
The fans didn't agree with that block shot, but you can't go up there with anything weak against Jefferson. Those boys jumped really well.
Lynch, an all-star play on that one as he's packed Phil Cartwright. Nehru gets Peterson in the air for 2.
It's your man Nehru again.
That's 14 points for Dan Nehru. It's 24-16. Jaguars lead by 8.
And see, Nehru's got those quiet points. You think you're containing Jefferson because Lynch isn't scoring that much, or Bada's not scoring that much.
Jaguars' biggest lead in the ballgame. Thalberg from way out. Lynch skies for the rebound. Why don't they try to work it into the big men? Are they just not open, or what? Why does Thalberg keep shooting from the perimeter?
Keep in mind that Boone is out of the game. That's a telling factor right there. And Jefferson's patient enough as up for about a 20-footer.
Lynch from three-point land. That's 6 for Kevin Lynch. It's a 10-point run here. Would you want Augie Schmidt to take a timeout here or just see if he can withstand the run?
Well, he's got to withstand the run, but I think he's got to go with Boone, even though he's got the 3 fouls. They're a little out of kilter without him in there.
We've got a 10-2 run here going in the second quarter for the Jaguars. Davinsky, left side Parrington. Parrington drives baseline, switches hands with the right hand. We'll get a blocking foul on Mike Shearer. That's 2 on Shearer.
Now, without Boone in there, you've got Davinsky on the point. And I thought he was very effective on this left perimeter here with Boone penetrating seams and opening up jumpers for Davinsky. So he's given up part of his game by playing point guard. Now they can ill afford to get down too much here.
And Parrington converts the first one, the 6'2" senior averaging 9.9 points per game. Has 3 points on the evening, all from the and Parrington hits them both. It's 26-18. Jaguars lead by 8. Juergens bringing it up for the Jefferson Jaguars. For Bada. Bada just inside three-point land. And we'll get a foul here on Jason Thalberg. It looked like he almost stepped into Bada while he was up in the air.
Now, you notice last couple trips down, Jefferson's gotten off their perimeter shooting, or perimeter shots.
There you have it. Rodney Boone's back in the game for Jason Thalberg.
I think Jefferson has established their inside game with Nehru. They've been throwing the ball into him and made St. Louis Park conscious of that point production down there. And it's opened up Jefferson on the perimeter.
Bada hits the first one. That's 5 for Bada. It's 27-18. Jaguars lead by 9.
Now Davinsky will go back to the wing with Thalberg out and Boone in.
And that's 6 for Tom Bada. Jaguar advantage as Boone brings it in the front court. 3:22 to go in the first half. Boone far side for Davinsky.
And again, you've had a little more quickness with Boone on that point. The ball is rotating a lot faster and making Jefferson work a
Harrington
little harder.
cross court for Davinsky for 2. Robert Davinsky. That's 6 points for Davinsky. It's 28-20. Well, some coaches, like Coach John Thompson of Georgetown, says play the first half to get to the second half. Would St. Louis Park be happy as Bada hits that one? Would St. Louis Park be happy if they were just down by under double digits here in the first half?
Well, you have to understand that Georgetown, John Thompson's talking about a different game with those horses that he's got.
That's right. The full court pressure can get you back in the game at any
That's
time.
right.
Boone, he's stripped there by Juergens up court for Bada. Bada, one man to beat, pulls up from the broken circle, and he hits.
Bada pulling up 10, 15 feet is like a layup for the normal break.
That's 10 points for Bada. It's 32-20. Jaguars have opened it up here in the second quarter. 12-point Jefferson advantage. Far side for Parrington. For Davinsky. Davinsky being bodied there by Juergens. For Boone, for Parrington. Parrington drives baseline over Lynch. Could get the foul. Looks like we might get it on Kevin Lynch.
Parrington's impressive. He attacks those seams in the zone.
Kevin Lynch with his first. That'll put Matt Parrington at the line, shooting 2. Parrington's perfect from the stripe. Is that the law of averages, or do we jinx him? He's 4 for 5.
I think the law of fatigue.
That could be it, too.
He's working awful hard out there.
And someone, I think, was in the lane too quickly.
Well, he missed it anyway. I think he needs to take a little more time. When you get tired, you have to regain that concentration some way.
Juergens will bring it up. Minute 54 to go, first half. Almost taken away by Boone. Bada. Juergens head fakes Boone, dishes for Shear. Shear over Cartwright. Shear follows the shot. We'll get a foul here on Cartwright on the arm. Dale Forrester will be checking in to give Chad Juergens a rest. He's had an injured left ankle, maybe resting him for the quarter.
That's an interesting move. He's got 1:36 left in the quarter. As a coach, do you want to lose any of that 12-point lead going into the half? Or do you want to maintain it by keeping your 5 starters out there?
Well, Juergens, as Shearer hits the first one, Juergens has had an ankle injury. I think he might just be saved the second half, resting that left ankle.
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thought there.
And Shearer nets them both. It's a 14-point Jaguar advantage.
This is a critical trip up the floor for St. Louis Park. I think they have to come away with something. 12 and 16, there's 2 differences there.
They've outscored the St. Louis Park Orioles 20-6 this quarter. Parrington, cross court for Davinsky. For Parrington. Oh, Lynch was anticipating the pass, but Davinsky comes down with it, and it looked like he traveled, yes, dragging that pivot foot.
Now, with the 2 big fellas for St. Louis Park in the game at the same time, they're having to rely solely on that skip pass. A skip pass, they're not going through the point with the pass to the opposite wing. They're going over the top of that defense. And as I mentioned earlier, Jefferson anticipates so well, you can't get a lot of mileage out of that. You have to play them straight and somewhat forget about little skip passes.
Mike Jensen checks into the game for Dan Nehru. Jensen's an excellent rebounder for the Jaguars.
Now, St. Louis Park is conceding at least a 14-point disadvantage. They're playing a zone in half court now. So they're giving up Looks like they want to come out man now, but it's basically a zone.
Tom Batta holds up the finger for one shot.
They're letting Jefferson take the last shot.
Well, I have to believe you have to get it into the big men, though, because in the second half of last week's game, Parrington and Boone started penetrating. Why not start that in the beginning of the game, try to penetrate, draw those fouls? They're just, because this perimeter shooting has just deserted St. Louis Park.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, also Jefferson's zone is not an average zone.
Playing aggressive zone, Forrester at 5. Cartwright comes down with it. Cartwright, and that's the end of the first half of play with the score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 34, the St. Louis Park Orioles 20. And we'll have a halftime interview with NFL referee Jerry Seaman when we come back. You're watching 6AA semifinal basketball on BEC Channel 17D.
We're here at halftime with Jerry Seaman, supervisor officials for the state tournament for the State High School League. Mr. Seaman, how do you go about selecting your officials for the state tournament?
Actually, there's an initial list of officials that is obtained. The coaches make recommendations of those officials that they feel are worthy of working in the tournament. We go to the different officials associations in the state. We of all the officials that work the district tournaments, the regional tournaments. I go back to previous years' experience in the state tournament, and we get a composite list of about 250 officials for the boys and the girls. Then this list is sent back out to the coaches, and they rate the officials whether they shouldn't work in the tournament, whether they should work just the district level, the regional level, or they should work in the state tournament.
Have you ever had any problems selecting officials?
Well, there's a lot of competent officials that we have in the state of Minnesota, and we're very fortunate. We're building a good base of officials. It's a very select process, and certainly each year that there are some officials that are very close and don't get in, but we're getting the quality officials in the state of Minnesota.
How long have you held your position of supervisor of officials?
This is my 11th year in the state of Minnesota as supervisor of officials.
Do you see yourself being here for another 11 years?
I don't know. You hope so, to be able to get into it and enjoy it and be a part of the game, and it's an enjoyable experience to work with the officials and try to get the best for the kids, because after all, that's what the tournaments are all about. They're for the kids.
Mr. Seaman, good luck in the state tournament with your officials.
Thank you.
Jerry Seaman, supervisor of officials for the State High School League. We'll be back with the second half shortly.
You're tuned to BEC-TV, Bloomington Educational Cable Television, Channel 17D.
We're back here at Augsburg College, where the Jaguars have a 34-20 halftime lead, spurred by a 20-6 second quarter. Checking the stats for the individuals, Dan Nehruth leads all scorers with 14 points. Tom Batta has 10, Kevin Lynch has 6, and Mike Shear has 4. Jaguars in foul difficulty, Mike Shear has 2, Dan Nehruth has 2, and Chad Juergens has 2. For the St. Louis Park Orioles, high point man in the game is Robert Davinsky with 8 points. Matt Parrington has 5, David Peterson 4, and Jason Fallberg 2. Now Tony Gear with our halftime team statistics.
In the first half, Jefferson hit 13 of 20. An interesting note for that stat, Jefferson hit 7 in a row from the field in the second quarter, 7 of 9. One note on that stat, when you make an attempt and you're fouled, it's not counted as an attempt. So you viewers looking at it, you might have thought, well, they missed some in there. It doesn't count as an attempt if you're fouled when you're shooting. Jefferson, 13 of 20 from the field in the first half. St. Louis Park, 8 of 18. At the free throw line, Jefferson hit 8 of 11. St. Louis Park was 4 for 6. The rebounding department, Jefferson only had 4 rebounds in the second quarter for a total of 8. St. Louis Park only 2 in that second quarter for a total of 12. Turnovers, St. Louis Park 7, Jefferson 3. The fouls are even for team fouls at 8 and 7.
Well, the big factor in the game so far is that 20-6 spurt by the Jaguars. Do you feel like Rodney Boone coming out with the 3 fouls, the St. Louis Park Orioles just got out of their offense?
That was a telling factor with Boone on the bench with 3 fouls. He got a little smarter on his defense also. He got those quick fouls, those 3, basically reaching in, gambling. And that might have been that adrenaline flow early in the game. he's got to be patient enough to play basic defense, and it got him in a lot of trouble.
Well, we're ready to start the third 8 minutes as Bada inbounds in front of our broadcast location for Juergens. For Lynch, far side. And St. Louis Park again is in the man-to-man. Bada in the lane, dishes for Juergens, and he was fouled there by Matt Parrington. Juergens will go to the line shooting 2. He wanted the 3-point play on that one.
Well, the whistle was late, but might have been after the shot. Well, he's sending him to the line. It was a late whistle on that, though.
Matt Parrington's first foul of the game.
I think you mentioned in the half stats that St. Louis Park only had 2 rebounds. You can't rebound the ball out of the net. Jefferson was 7 for 9 at one point there, 7 in a row. So the 2 they missed may have been the 2 rebounds that St. Louis Park got.
Juergens hit the first one, can't hit the second one. Peterson comes down with it for Thalberg for Davinsky. Davinsky hurries it into the front court. They can sit back in that zone now with a 15-point lead.
Well, they're still going to have to work. St. Louis Park was down 13 to Kennedy, as you mentioned earlier. But I also said that Jefferson's zone is not like Kennedy. They're still going to have to work for that basket.
Boone can't hit. Lynch skies for the rebound. Leaves it for Juergens. 7:17 to go here. Third quarter action. Jaguars lead by 15. Shear right baseline. Bounce pass for Bada. Bada back out for Juergens. Juergens in the lane, hanging. Wild shot won't go. Parrington tried to get it up to Thalberg, rather Boone finally does. Count the basket. Thalberg is fouled there by Tom Bada.
I don't think Jack Evans is going to be satisfied with Juergens taking the ball to the hoop, going to the basket one-on-one.
Maybe a little out of control on that one.
Well, it might have been that 15-point lead. They're in too much of a hurry to make it 17. He's got to maintain his poise, especially from the point, handling that ball.
Boone can't hit the free throw. He's got 2 points. It's 35-22. Jaguars lead by 13 as Juergens is bringing it up. And Bada and Davinsky held ball. Possession arrow is pointing St. Louis Park direction. They can cut it to 11 this trip.
What hurts you more than anything as far as losing a lead is your shot selection. Jefferson's got to maintain good poise, good patience, and get good shots. And those 15-point leads become 17.
Davinsky and Boone play catch out high. Davinsky over Nayrud for 2. That's 10 points for Robert Davinsky.
So
They've cut it. No, it's back up. Well, the scoreboard
11.
says it's 15.
They gave the points to Jefferson. It should have been the other way around.
No, now they finally get it right. Nayrud turn around over Peterson. He's just quick. He's got a good shot. He can get that shot off quickly before the big man Peterson gets in the air. Thalberg right baseline. Front rims that one. Bada comes down with the rebound. That's 16 points for Dan Nayrud. 37-24. Jaguars lead by 13.
It looks like Nayrud can get that shot anytime he wants it. Now Jefferson's
Shear
gone down
over
low.
Peterson.
They've gone down low twice now down the court. 2 times in a row, and they've come away with baskets.
Parrington for Boone, for Thalberg, for Davinsky. That's 6 points for Shear. Boone for Parrington. Parrington puts it home. That's 7 points for Matt Parrington. It's 39-26. Jaguars hanging on to that 13-point lead. Far side now. Bada for Lynch. For Nayrud over Peterson. Nayrud thought he was feeling it. He was, but Parrington comes down with the shot that was short that time.
Yeah, he was feeling it from 8 feet, not 12, 15 feet.
That's right. Davinsky for Thalberg swings the ball over for Parrington over Lynch. There's the foul on the arm by Kevin Lynch. That's 2 on Kevin Lynch.
Kevin was a little aggressive on that foul. He tried to get out and block the shot rather than contest it.
That'll put Parrington at the line trying to cut it to 11. That one bounced around a bunch of times and finally decides to go out.
Last 4 trips down, or I'd say 5 trips down, Jefferson's made 2 wise decisions on their inside game and 3 not so wise, trying to take the ball to the hoop.
Parrington hits 1 and they've cut it to 12 now. Headed down to as much as 11 here in the third quarter. Shear watched by Davinsky far side for Lynch. Lynch has been quiet in the ballgame. For Nayrud. Nayrud's fouled by Peterson. That's number 3. on David Peterson.
There's a tendency to judge a person's game by how many points they score, and I disagree with you on that point, Shane.
Well, he has been doing an excellent job on the boards, I have to admit that.
Not only boards, but you watch who's throwing that ball down into Nehru, and that shows me a very unselfish player that can do that. Give up the points to take advantage of what's working for him.
Bada way out for Juergens. Bada rolls that one in. That's 12 points for Tom Bada, 41-27.
I think the official was telling Bada, or telling Kevin Lynch, let's not make any gestures or comments out there. They had a little game going between he and Peterson and as well.
Maybe trying to intimidate the sophomore. Thalberg for Boone. Left side now Davinsky. Back for Boone. For Thalberg. Running one-hander in the air by Boone. Can't control, and Nehru comes down with it.
That's not the shot they want. He was a little out of control there.
Well, if you were the coach Augie Smith, would you tell him to try to get the ball into Peterson more? Is it just the Jefferson defense is too tough? Nehru hanging, won't go. Peterson skies for the rebound.
You made a point earlier, Shane, about Jefferson being able to negate the big man. And they're doing that again tonight with Dave Peterson.
It's remarkable that they've done it to, in every, well, of course, those were home games I'm commenting on, but still, they've done it to some top-line ball players.
Yes.
Peter, three-point line, that's Thalberg for two.
They play that 2-3 zone. They give a lot of help down low. And if they're gonna give up anything, it'll be that perimeter shot. And you cannot beat teams consistently from the outside.
Bada with the spin dribble for Juergens. Juergens drives baseline, leaves it for Shearer. 41-29 for Shearer. Shearer, free throw line for, Juergens for Shearer. Back out now. Juergens, they'll wind it up again. 3:27 to go, third quarter action. Lynch, turnaround. He was fouled by Peterson. That's number 4 on David Peterson.
Well, you could have taken your choice on that one as far as who fouled him. He got hit from the backside also. And then maybe the impetus that Lynch was providing to his shot threw him into Peterson. But I don't believe that was Peterson's fault that time. He got sandwiched on it.
And substitution coming into the game, Ted Hartman, a 6'4" junior forward, checking in for Peterson with his 4 fouls. Kevin Lynch will be at the line shooting 2. Lynch has 6 so far on the evening, averaging 16 on the year. And front rim, back rim gets that one to drop. That's 7 for Kevin Lynch.
You know, that's a tough decision for a coach to make. Your main man inside, heavy rebounder, picks up his 4th foul, and you're down 12, 13 points.
Lynch hits them both. That's 8 for Lynch. It's 43-29.
That's quite a dilemma.
Jaguars lead by 14.
Whether to leave him in there and take your chances, maybe getting back into the ball game, or taking him out and taking him out of the ball game for sure.
I'm a little surprised that they didn't put in the 6'8" junior Phil Cartwright. Davinsky inbounds in front of the St. Louis Park bench for Boone, for Thalberg, for Davinsky. Davinsky, that bounce long, follows his shot, but Bada runs that down, and he's slowed up there by Boone. Leaves it for Nehru, back for Tom Bada. 2:57 to go, Jaguars lead. As Bada throws that away, Hartman comes up with the steal. Parrington returns the favor, throws it away. Hartman rips it away from Shearer. Shearer for Boone, for Thalberg. Thalberg, that's swatted away by Kevin Lynch, and they say Thalberg was out of bounds.
Hartman looks pretty active in there. So that might have been the reason. He wanted to give him some time on the floor and see how he's going to react. He looks very active in there.
Kevin Lynch batted it off of the St. Louis Park player as Juergens is bringing it into the front court. They had it cut down to 11 here. It's been varying from 11 to 14. And Lynch hangs in the air, won't go. Parrington rips down the rebound for Boone, leading the break for Thalberg. Bada gets back. And there's the block by Lynch. We'll get a foul on Kevin Lynch. That's number 3 on Lynch.
I think that was on Bada.
Bada.
Might have been on Bada. Lynch got him clean, but that. Yeah,
yes,
Bada got him with
you're
the
right. That's Bada's first. Thalberg, that first one bounced long.
Thalberg is a pretty decent free throw shooter. He's at 57%.
And he nets that second one. That's 5 points for Jason Thalberg. 43-30. Jaguars lead by 13. Juergens bringing it up against Boone. Juergens for Bada. Bada for Juergens. Looks, Jefferson is looking more inside than they have in past ball games. For Bada. Bada looking for Shear. Now kicks it back out for Lynch. Left side now Shear for Nehru. Just inside the free. Oh, and they foul their shot again with Juergens. Juergens, the look for Bada for two. Tom Bada, that leads up to 15 points. Tom Bada with 14. Boone, left side now for Thalberg, for Boone, for Davinsky, for Parrington. He bounced it off his foot. St. Louis Park's pressing a little bit now. Maybe trying to make things happen too fast. Juergens. 1:24 to go here, third quarter, for Bada. Shearer, top of the key, for Nehru. Kicks it back out. 15-point lead. They're content to look for an easy basket.
I think they'll get one. They're moving that ball fairly well.
Shearer off the glass won't go. Nehru with the offensive rebound. That won't go, but there's Jaguars all over the boards with Shearer. Those offensive rebounds, they came in big in the Minnetonka game. They're coming up big here in the third quarter for the Jaguars. 54 seconds. Juergens motions, asks Coach Evans if he wants the last shot.
Probably will take the last. Going to the fourth quarter with 15-point lead, or at worst, possibly 17. So they should be content to take the one.
Jaguars have 6 offensive rebounds this quarter. Lynch.
More importantly, I think they're tiring St. Louis Park out with their man-to-man offense. There's a lot of movement involved there, and St. Louis Park has played defense.
Well, we had a ball game for one quarter, but then that 20-6 second quarter run by the Jaguars has put up a 15-point margin on the board for Jefferson. Juergens now, it clock's at 9. Juergens in the lane, dishes for Shear, head fakes Parrington, and Parrington's fouled there by Robert Davinsky.
St. Louis Park had to work awful hard on that sequence.
That'll put Shear at the line shooting 2. Dale Forrester checks in again for Chad Juergens, giving him that quarter rest. And Shear knocks that one down. That's 7 for Mike Shear. And Shear hits them both. That's 8 points for Shear. 3 seconds on the clock. Davinsky from three-point line. It's good if it goes, but it rims out. That's the end of the third quarter of play with the score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 47, the St. Louis Park Orioles 30. We'll be back with fourth quarter action after this on BEC Channel 17D.
Hi, I'm Tom Roloff, the host of Time Out, your weekly Bloomington sports TV show. Time Out is seen live every Wednesday on BEC-TV at 7:30 p.m. and replayed several times during the week thereafter. Time Out features sports teams from Jefferson, Kennedy, and Normandale with special interviews with players and coaches. We also have a weekly Team of the Week, special features, and scores and highlights from the previous week. Please join us on BEC-TV for Time Out, the best in Bloomington TV sports.
We're back here at Augsburg College. Jefferson with the ball now.
You'll notice St. Louis Park has gone into a 1-2-1-1 half-court trap.
Well, 17-point deficit. They've got to try and get that ball. Shearer and Forrester play catch with it on the near side.
Jefferson's content to run the clock and look for the layup if possible.
I believe that Chad Juergens wants to rest that ankle, but no, there's the turnover by Tom Bada.
Well, he threw the ball a little bit too hard inside. He saw the man open on the block, the area down by the basket, and was unable to get him the ball.
Now we've got Chad Juergens checking back in.
I think Coach Evans wanted to give his other point guard a little time on the floor, but the half-court trap changed his mind on that. He needed that ball handler back in there.
Thalberg over Lynch, won't go. Nehru can't control Peterson off the glass for two. That's 6 points for David Peterson.
Now, David Peterson to play this entire fourth quarter. He sat for the majority of the third, so he's ready to go.
Juergens far side, being trapped there. Juergens for Nehru. Nehru out for Bata, back for Juergens.
They're playing a 2-1-2 offense against that 1-2-1-1.
Bata from the free throw line, and he hits. That's 16 for Tom Bata. Much better shooting by the Jaguars this evening compared to their game against the Tonka Skippers. Davinsky, almost stolen by Bata, leaves it for Thalberg. Parrington for Davinsky. They swing it around now for Thalberg. Davinsky.
It looks like Jefferson takes time to...
We'll get the hack on the arm by Chad Juergens. That's number 3 on Juergens.
They're catching a deep breath on defense. Their zone is so effective. All they're doing is moving around, catching that deep breath on their 2-3 zone. And they're no longer playing with as much intensity on defense as they were. And that's because I think St. Louis Park is a little bit tired at this point, and Jefferson doesn't have to work as hard.
Parrington has 8 points on the evening. He couldn't hit that one.
There's that fatigue factor again setting in.
And Parrington hits them both. Hit one rather. 49-33, Jaguars lead by 16. Bata near side.
Okay, they're back to man-to-man.
For Nehru. Nehru drives the lane, dishes for... And that was knocked away by Parrington.
Looks like St. Louis Park now is playing man-to-man on the outside, on the perimeter, and any feed down low, they send the defensive guard down to double team the ball. So he's trying different tactics, changing his defense, trying to get some production and get steals or turnovers. So he's trying to produce those with different tactics on defense.
6:03 to go here, fourth quarter action. Nehru at the line shooting 2. He nets the first one.
You have to give Jefferson credit for recognizing those defensive changes.
That's 17 points for Nehru. And he nets them both. That's 18 for Nehru. Thalberg near side for Davinsky. 51-33, Jaguars lead by 18. Davinsky top of the key, right side Parrington. That was knocked away by Lynch. Juergens comes down with it, up court for Bata, leaves it for Lynch. The touch pass to Bata, back to Lynch for 2.
Best pass
Kevin
in basketball,
Lynch.
Shane.
That's 10 points for Lynch, the touch pass. Davinsky hurries the ball into the front court for Parrington, and that goes through Peterson's hands. Bata will be inbounding, and Coach Augie Schmidt wants a timeout. There's a timeout on the floor with the score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars 53, the St. Louis Park Orioles 33.
That's the best pass in basketball. That's pass, repass. And you just saw it executed to its fullest potential.
The touch pass by Kevin Lynch back to Tom Bata. Well, you've seen other teams play, Minneapolis North play. I know they're in your conference. Have you seen any other teams? Is there any team that can stop this Jefferson juggernaut?
Well, it'll be interesting. Looking ahead to the state tournament, I'm sure Jack Evans wouldn't want to hear this because he has a formidable foe in either Edina or Wayzata. But looking ahead, their first-round opponent would come out of the Woodbury, St. Paul Central region.
Oh, Highland Park might have something to say about that, too.
Well, that's true. Highland Park has an excellent team, and I think they matched up against Central in that region. But that's going to be a tough first-round matchup. Any team coming out of there, but I'm looking for Woodbury to come out of that region.
Well, there are some 5AA teams, what we've seen of the Jaguars. Of course, Armstrong only lost to the Jaguars 59-57, but what we've seen, Osseo and Park Center had a chance to win the game as blocking foul on Davinsky. Park Center had the chance to win the game with 16 seconds left. Then they threw the ball away. They lost 47-46 to the Jaguars.
I think what you have to look at, Shane, is who's playing well at this point in the season.
Oh, who's peaking, in other words.
Who's peaking. Now, Jefferson, we saw them earlier in the season, and after our ball game, I thought
Juergens can't hit the front end of the 1-and-1. Ted Hartman comes down with it, leaves it for Davinsky. 5:32 to go. Jaguars lead by 20.
You know, after our ball game with them, I thought they were the best team in the nation.
Harrington throws it. That should be over and back.
But they had their portion in the season that they were struggling a little bit too. Unfortunately for them, they didn't lose the ball game. And I think the close ball games with St. Louis Park, or with Park Center and a couple other teams, were their low points in the season.
Juergens inbounds for Shearer, gets it back. Jaguars are in no hurry. Juergens shadowed by Davinsky, gets it off for Nehrude. Nehrude already has 18. For Lynch. Lynch being watched by Parrington. For Juergens. Juergens for Bata now.
A lot of movement on their offense. And again, I think St. Louis Park is a little bit tired at this point.
It's also good that the Jaguars have about all their players can handle the ball. A little jump hook by Bata won't go, and Thalberg bounces it off his foot but regains possession. Leaves it for Davinsky. Oh, Lynch anticipated the pass beautifully. Lynch pulls up on Davinsky off the glass for two. Kevin Lynch. That's 12 for Lynch. It's 55-33. Jaguars lead by 22.
That was a heady move for Kevin Lynch to pull up on that. A lot of high school players would have taken it to the glass and drawn an offensive foul.
Thalberg from the left baseline for two. That's seven for Thalberg. Juergens being watched by Davinsky. 55-35. Jaguars by 20. Juergens tried to get it to Lynch. That was knocked away by Parrington. Parrington goes in on Bata, draws the foul. And substitutions coming into the game. Phil Cartwright will be replacing David Peterson with his 4 fouls. And Jason Thalberg will also sit down.
I'm impressed with the stamina of some of these Jefferson players. Kevin Lynch has not left the floor tonight, and he's barely broken a sweat. Tom Bata, the same thing with Tom Bata. They look like cross-country runners with their stamina and endurance.
Parrington can't hit the second one. Cartwright battles for it. Parrington runs that down. Parrington dishes for Cartwright off his leg. And now Dale Forrester will also be checking in for the Jaguars. Mike Jensen is in the game as Tom Bata will sit down.
It's amazing how he can maintain that pace considering how warm it is in here.
And Forrester has it for Kevin Lynch. As St. Louis Park picks up in the backcourt, Lynch across the timeline. Jaguars lead by 19. Juergens for Lynch, far side. Bob Gustafson has also checked into the game. Lynch dishes for Nehrude. Nehrude stuffed there by Phil Cartwright. Well, we'll get a foul.
I'm impressed with Augie Smith, St. Louis Park. Some of the defensive changes he's employed here to try to create overs or create a poor shot selection for Jefferson. Right now, he's playing what we call a run and jump.
Nehrude's at the line shooting two. He nets the first one. That's 19 for Dan Nehrude.
If the dribbler comes toward the other defensive guard, the defensive guard will run at the dribbler, forcing the defensive forward up to try to take the opposite passing lane away.
Nehrude hits them both. That's 20 for Nehrude.
So he's doing a lot of different things to create turnovers.
Gustafson brings it up for Jovasaker. For Hartman, turn around on Jensen, won't go. Cartwright crashes the boards. Might get the offensive foul on Cartwright.
I think that'll be on Kevin Lynch.
And now we got Don Cavage, Todd Doncavage checking in. And also Mitch Erickson checking in. As Jack Evans' left starters get some applause from the crowd. That'll put Cartwright at the line. Shooting 1-1. Cartwright nets the first one. 57-37, 20-point lead by the Jaguars. And Cartwright hits them both. 57-36, Jaguars lead by 21. And Nehruth throws it away against the full court pressure.
St. Louis Park's got some impressive size coming back next year, Shane. I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but Ted Hartman is a pretty big kid. He's 6'4" junior returning next year.
Cartwright's only a junior. Peterson's only a sophomore.
That's right. So that's an impressive front line he's got coming back.
Hartman for Jovasaker. Jovasaker for Erickson. Oh, Cartwright missed the easy one. Nehruth comes down with the rebound. 2:52 to go. Jaguars lead by 21. Into the front court. Being bodied there by Gustafson. For Don Cabbage. Back out for Juergens. For Don Cabbage. Don Cabbage had 6 points in the Minnetonka game. For Juergens. For Forrester. Left side now for Nehruth. Nehruth being watched by Jovasaker. For Forrester, back out for Juergens. Forrester. Don Cabbage thought about it. Erickson jumped out on him. Juergens for Nehruth. That could be there. Dan Nehruth. That's 22 for Nehruth. It's 59-38. Jaguars lead by 21.
That's impressive. You've got 3 kids coming in off the bench for Jefferson, and they're still pacing in the offense.
Jovasaker, that hits nothing but air. Don Cabbage comes down with it for Juergens.
They're still content to run their offense and get the good shot.
And Jefferson wants a timeout. I still have to believe, I guess. To me, I like to pound the ball into the middle to the big man. Hopefully you might get some fouls or something like that. And well, of course, like you said, Jefferson's 2-3 defense with Shear and Nehruth sagging back on the big man does a good job on most players.
They prevent you from pounding that ball inside. They force you to take a bad shot.
Well, what kind of offense would beat this Jefferson team?
Well, I think you've got to have a combination of the perimeter shot and the good inside man. I think on the backside you have to have somebody that's going to take a lob pass on a skip. You don't go your basic pass from forward to guard. You have to go over the top of it and have something on the backside. A threat on the inside, a threat on the backside, as well as a good outside shooter. And I think that would problems for them because they do overload the ball side with their 2-3 zone, and they want to take that inside away. And you can't be every place. There's a tendency to think that Jefferson's got 5, 6, or 6, 7 guys out there because they're so effective with that 2-3 zone.
David Larson and Joel Daniels have checked in for the Jaguars. And they get it into Daniels with 1:48 to go. Jaguars lead by 21.
Coach Evans has made wholesale changes out there, and you won't see too much of a drop.
And Todd Don Cabbage drags the pivot foot.
As far as their execution of the offense, they'll still go through their offensive set. You find a lot of kids at this level, they want to come in and score the points. First come, first serve. But Jefferson's a very disciplined team, very patient team, and they'll stay within their offensive framework.
Mitch Erickson and Gustafson play catch out high now for Rowe. Rowe back out for Erickson. For Gustafson, for Jovasaker. Back for Gustafson. Jovasaker over Forrester, and he hits. John Mark Jovasaker with the basket. Minute 9 to go. Jaguars lead. I think they did it again. I think they gave the basket too. It looked, well, okay. Then, yeah, you're right. 19-point Jefferson advantage as Jovasaker got his points. Erickson for Gustafson. Gustafson fouled there by Mike Jensen.
Jensen's playing the middle on that Jefferson zone, and he's content to take the high post player wherever he may be.
That'll put Harlan Rossman at the line shooting for the St. Louis Park Orioles. Well, the winner of this game, well, Jaguars look like they have it right now, will play the winner of the Wayzata game. Wayzata defeated Armstrong, and Edina defeated Richfield 62-60 in overtime. Rossman, the left-handed shooter, hits the first one. It's 59-41. Tyrone Thomas has also checked in for St. Louis Park. That one rattles out. Jensen comes down with the rebound for Daniels. 49 seconds to go here. Jaguars are going to advance to the 6AA championship game Friday night. Jaguars have won the last two 6AA championship games. Jensen for Forrester, kicks it back out for Daniels. Daniels from three-point land. That one's long, that's tapped around. Jensen finally controls for Forrester. For Don Cabbage. Don Cabbage turnaround for two. Over Rossman, Todd Don Cabbage. Carpenter bringing it up for the Orioles. Carpenter for Cohen, for Thomas. Thomas for Rowe. Rowe from three-point land, front rims that one. Larson can't control. We'll get the over-the-back foul on Chris Rowe. Nine seconds to go. Jaguars lead 61-41. That'll put Dave Larson at the line shooting 1-1. Rob DeCourcy and Tom Jasper check in. Well, we had a close game for one quarter here. Then that 20-6 second quarter run by the Jaguars proved to be the difference.
You've got 33 Dave Larson on the line, a junior.
And he knocks the first one down, 62-41.
Looks like a promising athlete there. He had good release on that free throw.
And Larson nets them both. 9 seconds to go, 63-41. As Carpenter hurries the ball into the front court. Carpenter for Cohen. Cohen, that short. Larson comes down with the rebound. That's the end of the game with the final score. The Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars advance to the 6AA championship game for the third straight year, as they'll take on the winner of Wayzata Edina. That game will be played tomorrow night with a 63-41 decision over the St. Louis Park Orioles. We'll be back with interviews after this.
Although we probably don't pay much attention to it, all of us call people by names sometimes. But most of the time they're just harmless nicknames. Like when you call a taxi cab driver a cabbie, for instance. But sometimes they're not so harmless. And when you call people names that are based on their race, their heritage, or their religious beliefs, you hurt them, but you also hurt yourself. Do your part to make this world a better place for all people, huh? Don't be prejudiced. Just isn't fair.
Prejudice is something America can do without.
We're back here at Augsburg College, where the Jefferson Jaguars have just advanced to the Region 6 AA championship game to play the winner of the Wayzata Edina game with a 66-41 victory over the St. Louis Park Orioles. Well, Coach Haskins, that was another impressive performance by the Jaguars. I know Kevin Lynch has signed a letter of intent to go to the U. What are your plans for him?
Well, you know, after watching him play again tonight, he's an outstanding young man, outstanding player, just an excellent passer. You know, we really like him as a big guard. He sees the flow extremely well and makes just really smart decisions with the basketball. We feel Kevin can come in and help us quite a bit as a freshman.
How would you compare him to Kentucky's Rex Chapman?
Well, you know, they're both good athletes. They run alike. Perhaps Rex shoot a little bit better from the floor, but I feel as an athlete goes, and if Kevin continues to work on a ball handling skill, he can be just as good some days as Rex Chapman, any guard in the country.
Well, we also had some big men here this evening. We had 6'7.5" David Peterson, the younger brother of Jim Peterson of the NBA. What were your thoughts on him?
Well, you know, for a young man that's 16 years old, perhaps in a sophomore in high school, great size, good quickness, good hands, just really does a good job on the basketball court. You know, he's young, he plays like a baby at times, but he's going to grow up and be an outstanding player. So someday we'd like for him to become a Gopher.
There's one thing I'd like to, could you explain this about the NCAA dead period where you can't watch the Minnesota high school basketball tournament?
That's correct. During the state tournament, that's the same time as the Final Four. From March the 25th through this year, I think it's March the 30th or 31st, excuse me, at noon, you cannot recruit. That's called dead period time or quiet time. So we will not be able to watch any high school game, not only the state tournament here, but no coach can go out and recruit during the dead period.
Well, you've seen North and Jefferson play, number 1 and number 2. They are in different if that game should happen. What do you like? I mean, how are those teams compare?
I think they're both excellent ball clubs. You have this Jeff ball club, the fine perimeter team, excellent shooter. You have tremendous quickness and great coaching from Coach Queen. So it would be a great, great match. I'm sure the fans will really get their money's worth.
Should be a good one if it does happen. Well, thanks a lot, Coach Haskins, for coming down this evening.
Pleasure.
Coach Clem Haskins of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Well, that final score from Augsburg College, the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars advanced to the 6AA championship with a 63-41 decision over the St. Louis Park Orioles. For my colleague Louis Boone, I'm Shane Steinhardt bidding you a good evening. You've been watching on BEC-TV, Channel 17D.